All right, we got some rough Pistons news pretty recently. Some rough news that I'm a little flustered, perplexed. I honestly don't know how to take it. So, talk to me. Let me know what your feelings are. I'll show you this. We'll get into it really quick, and it's really pretty simple. The Monty Williams, as you see pictured here, great coach. We all know he's a good coach. He reportedly just turned down a very lucrative offer. And when you jump into this, that lucrative offer was from none other than our Detroit Pistons. This is Monty Williams apparently turned out a big offer from a team on the other side of the country. Veteran NBA reporter Mark Stein wrote this week in Substack that the former Phoenix Suns head coach Williams received a big money offer from the Detroit Pistons to take their sideline lead. The offer apparently came after the Pistons lost in the NBA draft lottery early this spring. Stein adds, though, that Detroit's attempt to lure Williams was ultimately unsuccessful. Okay, let's talk about this because the rest of this article just goes on to talk about how the Pistons aren't good, and I don't really want to hear that. So, Monty Williams, was he your guy? Like, was he your guy? Was he the one that you wanted to coach the Pistons? Are you a Charles Lee guy? Are you a Kevin Ollie guy? We might have to get used to Kevin Ollie, but what are you? We know that three coaches went out to California to meet with the Pistons owner, Tom Gores, and it left with him not being impressed with any of them. And I think the reason he wasn't impressed with any of them was because he wanted Monty Williams. And if this report is true, which it's weird that this report would be leaked, it's a weird report to leak. Not crazy weird, but I don't know where it comes from. And if this report is true that we offered Monty Williams big money, it tells me two things. Number one, the Pistons are smart, and they offered the best coach available a job, and they went after him heavily. It also tells me that I'm bummed. I'm disappointed. My hope is that the next person they look at is Charles Lee. Now, you may as well go for an up and coming coach. I don't know what that looks like. If Charles Lee isn't offered the job in Milwaukee, I think that's kind of unique because they've proven to have good success, and maybe they just needed a new voice that wasn't Bud Budenholzer, that is. I don't have a problem with Nurse. I don't have a problem with Budenholzer. I don't have a problem with Lee. I really don't have a problem with any of those guys. Even Collins, I don't have much of a problem with. It's Kevin Ollie that I struggle understanding, but I don't struggle understanding it um, from a point of I don't think he'll be a good coach. I think Kevin Ollie could be a very good coach. I just think he's the least proven out of all of them. But can we just pause for a second? We don't know. None of us know. We're like, oh, I like Charles Lee. Why do you like Charles Lee? Oh, I like Collins. Why do you like Collins? Because of the system they were in. We've seen good coaches come from good coaches' systems. Everybody thought Nick Nurse was great coming out of Dwayne Casey, Coach of the Year system. But nobody wanted Dwayne Casey. That's weird, right? We've seen a lot of good guys come off the Popovich tree, like Budenholzer and all that kind of stuff. So there is a recipe for success, but here's the truth. We don't know the coaching chops of Kevin Ollie versus Charles Lee versus Collins. We don't know it. We know the coaching chops. We know what Monty Williams brings. We know that he took a 19-win Phoenix team and within 2 or 3 years had them in the NBA Finals. We know that. We know that Budenholzer has won a championship. We know that Nurse has won an NBA championship. And I'm sorry, but if you look at that Toronto Raptors roster right now, you can make different arguments all you want. That team is not, it's not a roster that's built to win a championship. It's just not. There's no big horses. Van Fleet does his thing and he works hard, but he's not the guy that's going to take you to the next level. He's a good third piece or fourth piece. All right. Same with Anunoby. And then Siakam is a really good second best player, maybe. Like, he's not going to be the best player on a championship team. So that team was doomed to win a championship from the second Kawhi left. And so you have these coaches that we know they're good coaches. So yes, I do have a tendency to favor the Williams, Budenholzer, Nurse. Not that I absolutely love all of them, because you wonder what the player relations is and things like that. But they are proven coaches. I think it's hard even for me. I will be the first one to admit fault here, where I'm just like, I don't like the Kevin Ollie because I don't know anything about him. But then I somehow convince myself that I know something about Charles Lee. I don't know anything. All I know is that he's watched a great coach in Mike Budenholzer. He's watched a coach that's won. So would I be crazy to say I'd rather have Charles Lee than Bud? I'd rather have the guy that learned under the guy than the guy. This coaching search just took a crazy turn because the best player we wanted, like all of a sudden it was like we're in the dark, we're in the dark, we're in the dark. And then all of a sudden, boom, we hear that we made an offer to what is the best coaching candidate in my mind available out there in Monty Williams. It didn't work. So the turn is, hey, at least the Pistons aren't going to sit here with Monty Williams available and just make an offer to Kevin Ollie. He might end up becoming our next coach. But that wasn't where we went first. So here's the question we have to ask ourselves. How desirable of a destination is Detroit for a coach? Are we going to struggle finding a coach? Are we going to have to take the leftover? That's the question we're going to have to ask ourselves. That's the tricky part. So let me know what you all think on that. Like, leave a comment. Are we just going to have to settle for whoever's left? And will that still be better than what Dwayne Casey was bringing to the table? These are questions that we have to answer. Are you sick of the coaching thing? I'm at a point where I think the NBA is such a fun league. I love the NBA. Like, what is taking so long in these coaching searches? What is it? We can't be waiting for the draft, right? Because you want to know who your coach is for the draft. You want to know who he is. If you have a top 5 pick like the Pistons, like you want your coach to be like, here's how we use this player. Here's how we use this player. You don't want to go in blind with roster creation. Like, at some point we have to get a coach. With free agency and the draft and all these things, it's like at some point we have to get a coach. So I think we're all just kind of at a point with the Pistons where it's like, show me what's next. Show me who's going to be the captain of this ship, because we desperately need something as Pistons fans to pick us up. Tell me if you agree with me, or if you're just like, don't worry about it. Take our time. Nobody else is hiring a coach. I just don't want to end with whatever's left. I want to get our first pick. And if we couldn't get Monty Williams and he's our first pick, why aren't we offering the next one? And is Monty Williams even going to coach next year? I think that's another question. All right. Leave a comment below. Hit that subscribe button. Become a member with the channel or whatever. All right. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.